took it to the mechanic, and they were like, all right, so here's the good news. You're right about your brakes. However, your shocks and struts need to be replaced, which is why your tires are all messed up. Oh, and by the way, you also have a front, I don't know, some thing on the front, name is skipping my brain right now. It's like the little piece that connects to your tire and all that, but the kind of, it's not the axle or whatever that is. Bearings and all that. Current estimate, a little over $3,000. Yeah, tie rod, rack and pinion, all that sort of thing. There's a whole bunch of things there. So, I actually have a, I'm actually waiting on a phone call here, so I'm going to probably have to interrupt the stream when the guy calls back. And I'm basically like, alright, so if I have to spend $3,000 on this car, am I going to get, is it worth it, or is this just the tip of the iceberg, so to speak? And if it's the tip of the iceberg, then I'm going to have to figure out what I want to do there. But, at least if I do get all that done, hopefully it should be good for a while, because I'll have new tires, new shocks, new struts. I think they call it tie rods and things like that is all messed up. So, is the car worth it? See, that is the perennial question when facing a $3,000 auto repair bill, isn't it? Do you go, well, $3,000, but then you can't buy a new car for $3,000. I could get a new car, well, new used car for, let's say, about $15,000. But then I'm back on a mortgage, and right now my car is paid off. Well, until I spend $3,000 on repairs for it. But there is something to be said for a car that you've got paid off. It's got about 155,000 miles on it, so it's getting up there. But it's a modern car. Modern cars last a long time. It's a 2011 Kia Forte is what I drive. I kind of like it, so. Don't do it if you got your money out of it. Get a new one. I know, right? See, that's the tough part. I don't know what to do. I want them to be like, oh, you know what? You're awesome. How about we just charge you $300 instead? That's what I want. I don't think that's going to happen, however. So I'm just like, oh my gosh. So anyway, I'm at home. My son is watching YouTube in the background. Hopefully not too much of that's getting picked up on the microphone here. I'm going to be hanging out on Kenneth with you for a little while here, and I guess I'll be taking a little break here if and when this phone call comes in from the auto mechanic. Otherwise, I don't actually know what we're going to be doing here today. I could talk a little bit about news, a little bit about what we have going on, kind of figure out what we're doing. Looks like we were in the Veil of Twilight, so that's probably not the worst idea in the world, just to keep doing that. Let's see, 12, Meridia. Do I actually have Meridia? Kind of looks like we were maybe going to get ready to do Meridia stuff. That seems like a decent enough thing to do. Yeah, and my insurance is fairly low. Well, so here's the thing. I mean, I do drive my car a lot. Because I drive it, you know, his mother, my son's mother lives down in Georgia. So whenever we're doing custody kind of things, it's a long drive for both of us, you know, 1,000 miles round trip. And, so that'll put on the mileage. Plus, I drive a lot for work. I'm a commuter. You know, I live about an hour from work. So I drive a lot for that. All that road construction and bad roads, I think, just kind of crapped out the car. So I'm tempted to just drop the $3,000 on a credit card and call it done. I mean, at least all that stuff will be done, if you know what I mean. So, and it'll be under warranty, presumably, for at least a little while. So there you go. But, otherwise I have to buy a new car today. Which, although that would be fun, I love buying new cars. I just hate paying for new cars. But I do like the car. It's comfortable. It's got a sunroof. It's got nice Bluetooth speakers, so I can just sort of fire up an old iPhone that I've got just kind of hanging around and stream all my podcasts into the nice radio. Speakers sound good. It was a used car when I bought it. I think it had something like 70,000 miles on it. But it's a nice. It had all the kind of comfort amenities added to it when I bought it, or not, like the old owner had all that stuff done. So it's got like nice seats and what have you. Overall, I like the car, so I am tempted to just kind of keep it. Although, like I say, there is something new to be like, yeah, well, I could get a sexy new car, right? Sexy new cars are fun. But it's a Kia, let it rot. So I don't know. I'm not totally into car talk here, but I hear you. I mean, I love the idea of well-built American cars and all that as much as the next red-blooded dude heading into the 4th of July. But I've really enjoyed this car. I think it's really good. So I'm tempted to just kind of call it done and do the work on it. But I don't know. They did have a really awesome Dodge in that lot where I went, so. There we go. I will return with the information that you seek. Let me bind here real quick. Don't trade your Kia for a Dodge. Well, I don't think I'd be trading it. I mean, what would they give me for it? Here's the one thing, though. I'm actually getting the work done at the place I bought the car, so. Back in the day. There's a local service shop / kind of used car lot real close to my house. And I like to support the local folks, so. And like I say, I can't blame them for selling me a bad car or anything. I just ran it hard. So. Yeah, they'd spend the $1,200 in parts and resell your Kia on the used lot for $8,000. That's I bet you were 100% accurate on that one there. Yeah. Anyone got a preference as to the first quest we do? Otherwise, I'm tempted to say maybe Rainbow in the Dark. That's a pretty fun one. Did you just hear the Willem scream? Yeah, probably. So my son is watching YouTube in the background. I'm trying to not have it bleed through the mic too much, but there's only so much I can do about that. Gotta keep the 6-year-old entertained while I'm here. So since we're talking cars, let me talk about the weirdest, ugliest, awesomest cars I ever drove. When I was in college, this would have been back in 1995 or 6, I drove a 1967 Chevy C10 pickup truck that had been driven by the state of Montana Forestry Service. And it ended up in a Minnesota car auction, and I purchased it for $200. It was easily worth $250. I drove the thing for, I don't know, a really awesome 6-8 months until literally I was driving down the road one day and the back axle tore through the rust in the back of the pickup cab and it ground to a halt along the side of Dinkytown and near the University of Minnesota. And I had to buy a new car. But I loved that car. It had Smokey the Bear bumper stickers on it. Old ones, because it was used by the state of Montana Forestry Service. That was really sweet. So then my next car, after that, remember I was a broke college kid, I couldn't afford any money for anything, was a 1977 Ford Granada with plaid seats, pumpkin orange, body, round headlights, and it was a boat. And I drove that thing for, oh, I don't know, maybe another year or so before that finally crapped out. I loved that car. It had a V8 in it, so I will give it that. You know, granted it was all rusting shut. Couldn't put the gas too hard or else the engine would probably fly out of the body, but it was an awesome car. So let's talk a little bit of DDO news here. So first off, the systems preview happened last week for update 39. We gave you a chance to look at the Angel of Vengeance, the War Soul, War Priest, and all that sort of thing. The DDO team is currently working on two fronts. We're doing some additional systems work based on your feedback, and in addition to get some systemsy things ready that weren't ready for that first preview. We have something kind of new, which I really can't debut here because it's very cool, that we have that'll be coming most likely here in update 39. And that should be ready for a preview hopefully relatively soon. And then we also have something that I know it kind of leaked from the Players Council and has been kind of on and off all over the place in terms of people having some awareness of it. And I'm not going to get into details here because I don't really want to support leaks. But I will say this. We have got some work being done for update 39 in regard to melee survivability. And that's one of the things that we are working to get in for update 39. This isn't targeted specifically toward Reaper, more just general melee survivability, although it will the hope is that it will certainly have at least some impact on the current concerns that our high-level Reaper players have in regard to the differences between, you know, the major advantage that kiting nukers have and melee tanks have in our current content. I don't know that we're not, I would say it is unlikely we are going to solve this in one go. That said, I think we will be making progress here. And we'll talk a little bit about what that is, what the general thing to start with. This is probably going to be a multi-pronged approach. You know, we'll do one iteration, see how it goes, do another iteration, see how it goes, and maybe do a few things. If it helps put your mind at ease on this, we had the person doing, not that all of our team isn't super talented, but the person doing the work on this is Torque. If you know Torque, you know that he knows his SHIT and is been a long time DDO dev, goes back all the way to Von 3 and all that sort of thing. And so I do think that he's on the right track here. I trust his judgment, shall we say, in regard to melee survivability. I think what we're going to be doing to start off with here is really kind of a hit point boost for our melee players to hopefully get them in a better place and better able to take a few hits while their other stuff works there. So. And as it gets nearer to Lemania and all that sort of thing, we'll probably have the actual details of the tree there. But I don't want, I know that there's been a bunch of rumors flying about what's going on. And so I did want to just kind of let people know that, yes, we are working on some melee survivability. It's not a huge, you know, top to bottom overhaul of everything. I mean, we just don't have the time in Update 39 to really be like once and done. Melee is in a good place forever. But this is going to help. And I do think it's a great, probably going to be a good first step. Of course, we look forward to your feedback on it, and you can let us know, you know, how right or how wrong we are. So the other thing we have going on is we had, at one point, been hoping to have our first content preview of Update 39 here, perhaps as soon as this week on Lemania, but that proved really just to be a little ambitious. We were doing internal run-throughs, internal playdays like we do, and really we're just kind of doing an assessment of it and going, it's just, give it another week, couple weeks of development here before we bring it out to the Lemania public preview server. So that's what we're going to do. We've got, it's not that it's not ready, it's just that we really want, because this is a White Plume Mountain here, along with other tales, and we do want it to be really good. So we're basically using those couple weeks to address things that we have discovered on our own internal playdays, you know, make sure, give it a little polish, do some additional development work, give it more time to cook, so to speak. And then, hopefully, when it goes live on Lemania, you'll be in a much happier state regarding it. I mean, we could try this thing, but this thing, my experience on this is that it just never works. But we can try it anyway. By the way, if someone knows the big secret on this, just let me know. Let's get it done. So when is it going to be on Lamonia? Let me, I guess, mention a little bit about that. What is the current plan to have this on Lamonia? Soon. The 4th of July holiday is actually messing with our plans just a little bit, and that it would be around the 4th, frankly, that it's probably going to be ready, but we have to do a few things like, do a walkthrough for our licensors and a few things like that. And so what's going to probably happen is I think it's most likely going to be the week after July 4th that it goes to Lamonia. Stay tuned on that. Plans can and will change, but that's what I'm currently thinking. Is someone going to be the risky one and just give it a shot? I'll do it. What's it? Oh, wait a second. Let me actually pause this. There's my phone call. Alright, sorry about that, folks. Alright, sorry about that, I'm back. Just for funsies, let's give this thing a shot. How about maybe someone else pull it, just because I am, after all, holding the thing. I'm just catching up on chat. When is Crystal Cove going to be available? It should be soon. if everything goes well, update 39, excuse me, update 39 will have the bulk of the itemization work, and then it should be able to get done after that. Do we not have a rogue able to do this? Maybe not. All this work for nothing, huh? Woohoo! We're the kings of the world! Hey, some of you actually survived it. So, when? It'll be probably within the next couple months here. So. Alright, let me check back with our chat room here. Crank up the DDO. Nice. Holy Diver! Yeah. I have Holy Diver on vinyl. I enjoy it. ...1980 Astrovan with gnarly eyeball painted on it? That sounds awesome. I approve. Wholeheartedly. Infernal chanting. What is with this infernal chanting? This actually isn't the worst place to do this fight. '79 Ford Fairmont Futura, '77 Dodge Aspen. Yeah, Doug, you and I come from a lot of the same cloth, I think, in regard to our age and our cars. Lovely stuff. But see, back in the day, you young whippersnappers may not know this, but back in the day, when you were broke and in college, you didn't really have much choice. You had to have a car. What are you gonna do? It's called Maintenance Bro. Do you do it? Apparently not. I mean, just kind of get used to not spending money, and then all of a sudden it's like, oops, okay, let me spend a lot of money. That'll be fun. Is there any plan to combine Vale, Amrath, and Archons as a saga? No. Is the short answer to that. There is no current plan to do anything like that. It's not to say it could never happen, but no. Wait to see if I start crying on the phone. Yeah. So basically what I did is, after I got that shocker of a price tag, I was like, yo, talk to your mechanic. Tell him to look at the car. Give me an estimate as to how much of a hunk of junk this thing is. Is it worth investing $3 grand into, or should I just buy a new car from you dudes? And the guy came back and was like, yeah, everything looks good except for that. It's a solid car, so I'm just going to drop the money. I like the car. If the mechanic thinks it's a solid car otherwise, fine. I'll do this work. I also did write down what I'm actually doing for the curious, because I know we have a lot of curious folks who might want to know, well, what exactly is costing him $3,000? I can tell you. I will say this too, they're actually going to throw in a rental car for me for the day. Because it won't be done until probably end of the day tomorrow. Due to the sheer amount of work. So that's kind of nice. Like I say, I literally live within walking distance of this place, which is kind of a nice thing to support them. Based on where the trap boxes are, you can solve the puzzle by going clockwise quickly from 12 all the way around. Is that true? So, shoo, that is news to me. That is awesome. That's very cool. I did not know that. That's very neat. I don't think I've ever actually solved that puzzle. Like, literally never, so. Oh no! Hello from the other side. Yeah, don't sing. There we go. There's a lack of named heavy picks, a lack of quarterstaffs with good DPS potential for a monk, and a lack of orbs in the game for healer melee builds. Okay. So I guess this is what I would say to that. Heavy picks have historically... They're useful because of their high crit profile. But otherwise, they tend to have been some of our least popular carry items in the game. I mean, people just don't really use heavy picks that much. So, I'm not sure what the real... So that's, in terms of, you know, spending resources to make desirable weapons that people want to buy and use and what have you. I think you're right that heavy picks have kind of not really fallen into that equation a whole heck of a lot. There are a few, but you're right, we should probably do more. And if there's interest in doing more, that sounds like something we should do. On the DPS quarterstaffs, you do qualify that we don't have a lot of DPS quarterstaffs specifically for a monk. And that may be accurate. I'm not enough of a monk player to really know that. I would say in general, though, we actually have a lot of named quarterstaffs in the game. It's actually one of the larger number and quantity that we have. And I was a quarterstaff user on my last life on Thelanis on my favorite soul build. He was a favorite soul rogue. And I actually got a lot of use out of my quarterstaffs. I had no problem finding good DPS quarterstaffs. So, yeah. But, you do qualify that specifically maybe there aren't enough good DPS quarterstaffs for a monk. And that may be true. I mean, I'll take your word for it, right? And a lack of orbs in the game for healer melee builds. That's almost certainly true. How many healer melees want to use orbs? I mean, maybe healers, but even then, why would you want to have an orb as a healer? I wouldn't. There's never been a time in any of my healer characters that I've been, you know what I should do is use orbs. And for melee in particular. Oh god, melee should absolutely not be using an orb. I wouldn't think. I mean, they're kind of caster items by their very nature. But maybe if there's a specific flavor or build I'm not aware of, or you can present a valid case as to why that would actually be desirable. Perhaps Linabelle or Steel Star or someone can hear this and be like, alright, we'll make a melee orb. Is there a bonus this weekend? Yes. I don't know what it is. I'm working from home and I don't have my calendar in front of me. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. No, alright. For Cordovan, a painting of a sad kobold with nothing to eat aside for broccoli painted onto his car would seem fitting. Yeah, we could take that nice high-resolution Cobalt picture from the one 3-barrel Cove one, and I could put it on the side doors. I'm down. If you want to pay, if someone wants to pay for this ridiculousness, I'm not opposed. Summer sales start this week or next. I heard Tolero say that our July 4th sales start this week. So I assume by that she meant the summer sales. So I'm going to go off the top of my head, guess without looking at the calendar and maybe being wrong, that that is indeed the case, that the summer sales will probably start this week. But I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, it starts next week. But we got something I know in the works. Z Wonderpuff used to work on your cars yourself. The only time I ever really worked on cars myself when I was in college and again broke, and I literally had no choice. I mean, I was making, back in the day, minimum wage was like $4.25, and that's what I was making. So. Oh, I'm sorry. We lost someone. All right, let me find that person again. I apologize. We good? So I actually did do a few things like replace my own radiator, or replaced oh, well, what's it called? Kind of piece. Oh, one of the windshield wiper motors. I did a bunch of stuff, but otherwise I am not a car mechanic. My brother, though, for those who don't, I assume most people know this, but I have a twin brother, and he actually does most of the mechanic work on his own cars himself. He's quite talented on that thing. However, he lives in Minnesota, so I can't make him fix my car. Sweet. Nicely done. What about the Wizard Pass? I have not heard anything about the Wizard Pass. I mean, it's something that we do hope to do, but it won't be happening any time immediately soon. It certainly isn't going to happen for Update 39. My expectation would be that a rough target might be a Nebulous later this year, but I don't actually know what our concrete plans are for that. It is something we're basically doing it next after we do what we're currently doing. But next might be a little while, because we have a lot of work we're doing. Like, you know, the thing that I can't talk about that we're doing after White Plume Mountain. You've solved it many times that way? Jesus. How did you solve that many times that way? That's incredible. I don't think I've ever even been in a group that solved that. Speaking of not solving things, what are the odds I'm actually going to be able to make this jump? Without further fall. Yay! Wrong way? Okay. Sorry. Oh, there we go. Oh, nicely done. Oh, thank you. Very nice. Let me see if I actually have something with feather fall on it that would be helpful. There we go. There we go. All right. Thanks again, everyone. Still need good armor piercing if using a heavy pick. Wouldn't that be a favorite rogue? Yeah, it was a weird build, but I really enjoyed it. It was a very... I've talked about it on the stream before, but it was in a static group on Talanis that I play with regularly, and it was a really, really useful support build. Yeah, I wasn't dishing out massive amounts of damage. Although I could, you know, help. But it wasn't a main DPS role. Instead, it was a combination healer, trapper, buffer, support, who could do a little damage. You know, it was a... I actually really enjoyed playing that build. It worked out pretty well. Your healer melee doesn't use orbs, uses rune arms, but I could see the desire to not want to multi-class into Artificer for rune arm and still want single weapon fighting. Okay, yeah, okay, so that's a valid... That makes sense, that a specific single weapon fighting focused build might well want orbs as opposed to just being single weapon or bucklers or what have you. A plane ticket for Minnesota might be cheaper than my labor costs. Not wrong. You've been thinking about making a nighttime sleepy compilation called Ballads of the Harpy. Will I have to pay you? No. I mean, generally, it's especially if you're just doing it for yourself, it's unlikely that you're going to run into issues. The only time we really care about copyright stuff is when you're trying to make this stuff on your own. Yep. Sorry. IR the dumb. The attack boost you get with single open fighting is what makes it awesome for an orb. Yeah, okay, so that, I mean, that is a very valid point. I hadn't really considered the single weapon fighting aspect of orbs, just because all my bards have not been single weapon fighting. All my swashbucklers, or I mean, they have been single weapon fighting, but they've not been orb wielders. I've generally gone with bucklers myself. Is there any plan to make filigrees of the same type and bonus stack? Potentially. Potentially. It's going to take some specific, annoying engineering work, but it is theoretically something we might be able to do. Roy G. Biv. Actually, it's not true. Oh, okay, that's the TM. I was like, what? There we go. Orange. Basically just go in order here. Okay, yeah, I thought, okay, never mind. There we go. There we go. All right. Yakety Sax is perfect for this. Yeah, I picked up there. I don't know if you also heard they were playing Pac-Man Fever somewhere around there. You found an exploit in Hunter's Feast if you wait until full dark, no werewolves, and you keep clicking the... Okay. Indigo Hotel Bravo, yep. Woot woot. Feather Falling Ring. That's actually not entirely terrible. Radiance Lore 13%. Got my Shav Stone. Alright, I don't really have time to do a whole other full quest here. You guys just want to get some slaughtering done for the next 10 minutes? As part of the melee pass, can you make Mortal Fear work in Legendary, please? No. That will never happen. Mortal Fear probably should not have been released in the state it was, but because everyone likes it so much, we are unlikely to nerf it. So we will simply do what we continue to do, which is leave it as it is, and then never touch it again. But no. As a matter of fact, hell no. We ain't gonna let Mortal Fear work on Legendary. By the way, Mortal Fear was not nerfed. It just was made exactly as effective as it was at the time of its release. We just didn't expand its usefulness to function in higher level content. So let's see, what else can I mention? I can't really do the bonuses right now because I'm at home. Already talked about our Lamania stuff. So I am in talks with an establishment in Indianapolis for an official Gen Con, DDO, and Lotro meetup. Hopefully that's going to happen. Hopefully we can get that hammered out in the next couple of days and make that a reality for folks. But if you're going to Gen Con, or if you think you might be in the Indianapolis area or be willing to drive there, on Friday, August 3rd, it is likely we will have some kind of meetup, at least unofficial, but assuming that it's not all booked up and everyone's like, what? No. Official meetup on Friday, August 3rd, Indianapolis. I don't want to say the name of the establishment until it's hammered out yet, because it may not happen. But hopefully I'll have more news on that front within the next week or so. So that's cool. Did I say when the next Lamania opening is? Stay tuned. It's a little bit up in the air at this point, but I think the likely spot for it is going to be the week following July 4th. So not next week, but the week after. And that'll be a content preview of White Plume Mountain along with the Other Tales part of White Plume Mountain and Other Tales, coming in Update 39 here. Another biker bar? Nice. No, not a biker bar. At least not... I mean, hey, if they want to have us, I'm down. No. But, no, I think it's going to potentially be a place that people who attend Gen Con and have gone to DDO meetups in the past will be familiar with. And if that doesn't work out, then a place across the street from them might be a place that we may go. But until I actually have a, say, a signed venue rental contract, I don't really want to say anything. But nonetheless, the time is going to happen. The when, or the where, is being worked on. And that would be Friday, August 3rd, 7 to 10-ish. From the unofficial side, it'll be 7 to 10. I'm sure folks will be there later than that. I myself will have got a thing at 11 p.m. that Friday, so that is... I'm going to have to duck out in time to be able to make that. But other than that, I'll be there. Up until I have to leave to do that. I also think Tolero may be there this year, and that would be cool. Any chance of getting cosmetic squirrel creature companions? I would say there is some chance of that. It's not on our short-term agenda, but we do have a dev who works on a lot of creature companions. And the idea of a squirrel makes a lot of sense. It would be a lot of fun. So I think there's some chance that may happen eventually. We need to come out west to SoCal or Vegas. I have never been to Vegas. And I like Southern California, but, I mean... So, I mean, the reason Gen Con is because a lot of D&D and DDO geeks are there. And I'm there. And, you know, me and Tolero and other people just go on our own for fun. And so if we're going on our own for fun, we'll carve out some time to do official things as well. I've got a full Gen Con schedule this year. I got all my tickets. I'm expecting it in the mail fairly soon. I was hoping to bring Jeffrey with me this year for his very first Gen Con experience, but unfortunately, that didn't work out, just due to his school's schedule. So, oh well. I'm not a gambler. Vegas, literally, I mean, I don't want to speak ill of any place, but I have zero interest in going to Las Vegas myself. Literally zero. So the only time I ever kind of wanted to go to Vegas was when they had that Star Trek casino thing, but I don't think that's there anymore. You assume there'll be some kind of swag available at said meetups. Yeah, I mean, be leftovers, as it were, from things that we've done in the past, but for sure. I always, whenever I go to a place that there will be other DDO people there, I always make sure to pack goodies along. And we'll see what we can do for this particular Gen Con, if it all works out. Alright, I think that should probably pretty much work out. Probably head back to Meridia at this point. Oops. My son plays YMCA in the background. Let's see. Ali Tell me went to Vegas. Someone else was paying. Okay. Lake Tahoe is dope. Okay. Sounds cool. Alright, so... Sorry, Jeffrey, I gotta turn that down just a little bit. It's too amusing for this live stream. Thank you very much for watching the weekly Wednesday lunchtime live stream here on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. I'll be back next week, same regular time and channel. I'll be back in the office next week here as well. And we'll talk a little bit about... actually, you know what? Next Wednesday, when is next Wednesday? Is that the 4th? That is the 4th. So no, I will not be here next Wednesday. I lie. I lie with lying lies. I'm not going to be here next Wednesday. So I will see you in 2 weeks. It'll be on Kenneth here. Have fun, everybody. Thanks for bearing with me here on this special home stream edition. And indeed, we've got a visit from my son, Jeffrey. How you doing there, bud? Alright. See you around. Have fun, all.